Thanks a lot, Cian Corla. It's hard to know where to start here, such as the scale of the horrific abuse of horses that was revealed on the RTÉ Investigates programme last week. I suppose the first thing is to thank the makers of that programme and to thank the whistleblowers who spoke to them, and then the investment of resources and so on by RTÉ to reveal what is taking place in this massively publicly funded industry, horrendous abuse of horses. And also to thank those campaigners like those from the My Lovely Horse Rescue from Nara and others who have been highlighting issues around mistreatment of horses for a very long time and have managed to pressure, for example, Shannonside to be shut down, at least for now. What was revealed in the programme was, I think most shockingly for people, the incredible, awful abuse, including supposedly by animal welfare officers at Shannonside slaughterhouse just before they were due to be killed, just treated in the most brutal, inhumane manner, as absolutely worthless, not worth any care, just as pure object to be kicked around or left dying on the floor. Secondly, what was revealed was massive smuggling. RTÉ estimates up to 20,000 horses going missing a year from this country. Third, fraud. The changing of passports to microchips being entered into horses to facilitate them being exported as something other than what they were. And fourthly, significant issues around food safety, where it appears that animals that were used in terms of horse racing or show jumping and extremely likely to have had bute used on them, a very extremely common painkiller for horses, entering the food chain for human consumption when it's not safe for humans to eat. All of that underpinned by 76 million euros this year of public money going into an industry. The vast majority of that we know from previous investigations and FOIs ending up with very rich individuals as tax-free prize money. How has this been allowed to happen, Minister? There are two explanations. One is that the Department of Agriculture, HRI, the IHRB have been asleep at the wheel, or the other is that a blind eye has been turned to what's been going on here. We've been told now that this is horrendous. We're going to do an investigation. We'll make sure it doesn't happen again. The implication being it's just one rotten apple, when in fact it's the only Shannonside was the only slaughterhouse for horses in the country, so the entire barrel of apples in reality. But also we should go back to 2021. You had a Panorama documentary, Irish horses treated the same way at slaughterhouses in Britain, the same promises, but nothing seems to have changed. I read in the Mirror today that actually back in 2018, what was happening here in terms of 2 microchips in horses was revealed by actually a vet, I think, within the Department of Agriculture. It was notified to the government at the time. There's supposedly an investigation. We don't know what has happened there. And it was notified to then the current Minister of Agriculture was then the Fianna Fáil spokesperson for Agriculture. And why is it going to be any different this time? I have a number of questions I'll pose very quickly to the Minister. Where was the Food Safety Authority of Ireland in all of this? They haven't been mentioned. Secondly, why would the Department of Agriculture inspectors, who would have been present when the slaughtering of the horses taking place, why did they never go and inspect the area where this incredible abuse was taking place? Are we going to have a proper digital passport system for horses? Are we going to deal with the systematic overbreeding of horses which underlies a lot of this? And are we going to have proper independent investigation and independent regulation that is not done by the industry, which is an incentive to continue with this industry?
Thanks, Deputy Murphy, for raising this important issue, and I'm taking this on behalf of Minister McConalogue. The footage broadcast last week showing incidents of animal cruelty was extremely upsetting, and Minister McConalogue shares the reaction of viewers and the wider public who are absolutely appalled and upset by such a blatant disregard for the welfare of horses. Minister McConalogue is certain that the vast majority of decent people who care for horses will be horrified by the scenes broadcast, and it is important to stress that what we saw was potentially criminal behaviour by a number of individuals. Arising from the information that the Department of Agriculture became aware of in recent weeks, it has commenced an investigation into these matters with the support of An Garda Síochána. While it is vitally important to ensure that the process continues without prejudice, Minister McConalogue states categorically that the full rigour of the law will be applied and no stone will be left unturned. In terms of immediate actions, on the 14th of June, Minister McConalogue issued a notice to the slaughter plant concerning revoking their approval for the slaughter of equines. The revocation of the food business approval means that the plant must immediately cease operating as an equine slaughter food business. Furthermore, the Department has placed restrictions on 2 equine holdings linked to the slaughter plant, prohibiting the entry or exit of any animal without prior approval. It is also clear from the documentary that a collective effort across the EU among Member States and the Commission is required to improve the traceability system. The Department is committed to assisting in that process along with European colleagues and the Commission. Protecting animal welfare is extremely important, and the Department of Agriculture takes its responsibilities seriously in this regard. The welfare of equines is protected by legislation, and appropriate enforcement action is taken where breaches or shortcomings are identified. The Department has in excess of 200 authorised officers under the Animal Health and Welfare Act who carry out welfare inspections in every county. There have been 167 prosecutions taken under the Animal Health and Welfare Act since it entered into law in 2013, and a number of other investigations are ongoing. The welfare of equines is further supported by the Department through its provision of funding to a number of horse projects nationwide, working with local authorities, charities and community stakeholders. Effective traceability is essential for the protection of equine welfare. Ireland's equine traceability system operates within the requirements set down in EU law and is fully in compliance with those requirements. In recognition of the importance of traceability to equine welfare, the Department has made improving equine traceability a priority in recent years. There have been a number of significant advances, including the introduction of a central equine database in 2013, followed by improved security features on equine passports in 2014. Also in 2014, the Department made it a legal requirement to register all equine premises. In 2021, the first equine census was carried out, and this was repeated in 2022 and 2023. A portal to check the validity of equine microchips or passport numbers was launched last year, and 2023 also saw the Department providing funding for e-passports, which will help simplify the updating of information in relation to the movement of equines. These developments, particularly the recent ones in relation to technology and e-passports, will continue to move equine traceability forward. To conclude, the Department condemns any cruelty to animals. We are taking this matter extremely seriously. An investigation has commenced and no stone will be left unturned to ensure that the full force of the law applies.
Thank you.
Thanks, Orla. Unfortunately, I don't believe you, Minister. I don't believe that no stone will be left unturned, because we've been here before. We've had similar revelations before, and the situation has continued. Because there's an industry that is politically influential and powerful, which the government, and every time I raise it with the Minister himself, he always spends his time talking about how great the industry is and so on. It's why we give them almost 100 million euros a year. And what flows from trying to make profit out of animals without proper regulation, without, for example, enforcement of a rule that you have to take care of your animal after it races, there has to be an aftercare programme, is that you have some owners who, having made money out of their horses, then rather than pay the 200 euros to get the animal euthanised at their, like where they are, they want to make a few hundred extra euros by having them killed for human food. You said that the welfare of equines is protected by legislation, appropriate enforcement action is taken where breaches or shortcomings are identified. But then, if that's the case, why did it take an RTÉ Investigates programme to reveal this? I mean, how come RTÉ have to say there's 20,000 horses going missing a year for this to be highlighted? It's in the programme for government to prioritise equine welfare based on a robust traceability system. We know now there is no robust traceability system. We know that lots of horses appear to have 2 microchips appear to have two passports, so they've been passed off as something that they are not. We also know now that this was highlighted to the Department of Agriculture back in 2018, that a veterinary inspector raised concerns on the 13th of March 2018 after he scanned the carcasses of 7 horses at a slaughterhouse and found that 6 of them contained 2 microchips. So why hasn't this been highlighted previously? Why do we not have a practice where any horse that's involved in show jumping or horse racing is automatically stamped on their passport, not fit for human consumption, because 99 times out of 100 they will have been, they'll have had bute used on them. There's very, very serious questions to answer, and I don't believe we're getting those answers yet from the Minister.
Thanks very much, Deputy Murphy, and I will reflect the feedback that you've given to the Minister. And as I said earlier, the footage broadcast last week showing that was absolutely abhorrent and extremely upsetting for all of us who would never show such blatant disregard for the welfare of horses or indeed animals. What we saw was potentially criminal behaviour by a number of individuals, and it is not representative, I think, of the wider horse owning community. The welfare of horses is protected by legislation, and where breaches or shortcomings are identified, appropriate enforcement action must be taken. The Department of Agriculture will utilise all avenues open to it to ensure that there are appropriate consequences for those responsible for the mistreatment of animals. It is also clear that a collective effort across the EU among Member States and the Commission is needed in relation to the traceability systems, and the Department is committed to assisting in that process. An active investigation has commenced, led by the Department of Agriculture with the support from Garda Síochána. And while it is vitally important that Minister McConalogue ensures that the process continues without prejudice, he states categorically that the full vigour of the law will apply, and as I've said previously, that no stone will be left unturned.
Now,